I texted my sister that I was mastering the art of caffeine maxing, looking for some kind of praise. She said, don't have a heart attack, so that definitely made me feel better. Today we are talking about everyone's favorite upper, everyone's favorite stimulant. It's caffeine, the drug that's not a drug. It's a drug, yes, but it's a good drug. Starbucks sells it. It's fine. You can have as much as you want. Drink caffeine all day. At least you're not doing drugs, okay? Have as much caffeine as you want. I don't know. Sometimes that's how it feels. I drink a lot of caffeine. I have been drinking caffeine regularly ever since I was probably around 12 or 13, so middle school. I grew up in a household with parents that were both black coffee drinkers, and I remember when I was maybe like 5 or 6, my dad was drinking black coffee and I asked him to try it and he was like, no, you're not going to like it. And I drank it and I was like, I love the taste of this. And I'm sure I was lying. But I really have just been drinking coffee forever. And because my parents drank so much coffee, it was just always in the house. And my sister and I, we just started drinking it because it was there and we got into a habit of it. And here I am a lot of years later, and I am still a habitual coffee drinker. I can't do energy drinks though, which is weird, but I had a really bad experience with energy drinks one time. I was on vacation in Florida and I was with my family and we had gotten like an Airbnb house. And I think for some reason everyone else had gone somewhere and I was in the house by myself. And I was probably 14 or 15 at this time. And I'd gotten Celsius's for the trip to like stock the fridge. And I had never had a Celsius before. And I thought it was some kind of like low caffeine drink. Like I thought it maybe had like 50 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And it did not. A Celsius has 250 milligrams of caffeine per serving. So that morning I had drinking my normal 2 cups of coffee. And I was like, I'm going to have some Celsius's, thinking that there wasn't that much caffeine in them. And I drank 2. So that's 500 milligrams of caffeine. As for reference, as we will speak on, a normal adult person should not have over 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. So that was a lot. And I was 14 and 5'2" and kind of tiny. So I freaked out. I was like, I'm never drinking a protein drink ever again. But now I have my coffee. And I also love a Diet Coke. I am obsessed with cherry Diet Cokes that just came out. In love. And I also love to make a dirty soda time and again. So those are my caffeine drinks of choice. But caffeine, like I said, is a stimulant. And it affects your body, and it affects your brain. And that is what this video is about today. Not to call anyone out, because there are some very, very good effects of caffeine. And we will get into that. And like I said, I am a habitual coffee drinker. I like to think that I might sometime cut caffeine. I don't think it's going to happen unless I decide to have a family and I'm pregnant and I have to stop drinking caffeine for that reason. But I really don't see any other time in my future where I will cut caffeine. Even though I would like to think so, don't see it happening because of how deep I am into it. But that's enough on me. Let's talk about the basic effects of caffeine on your brain. So, obviously, caffeine blocks sleepiness. How does it do this, you ask? So, caffeine mimics a chemical called adenosine, which builds up during the day and causes tiredness. And by mimicking this chemical, it can bind to its receptors and it stops their effects. It makes you less tired, obviously. Everyone knows that. It also increases your alertness and energy. So, another effect of stopping this adenosine is that caffeine allows neurotransmitters like dopamine, we love dopamine, and other transmitters to flow more freely, which makes you more alert. So caffeine stops this adenosine that makes you tired, and it lets dopamine do its thing. We love dopamine. Dopamine gets to flow wherever it wants, and we are happy. It also can improve cognitive function. So studies on caffeine have indicated that it can improve memory, processing speed, and decision making. I don't know. I have pretty bad memory, but I don't know. That might just be me. But I feel like processing speed, that makes sense. I think a lot of times when I'm drinking coffee, I feel sharper. Caffeine also has neuroprotective qualities. So that means that studies have suggested that long-term moderate consumption of caffeine can help protect against diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So another benefit of coffee and caffeine. Obviously, it can also boost your mood, which we love, by stimulating the release of dopamine. Now we have to get into the bad effects of caffeine on your brain, because yes, unfortunately, there are some. Anxiety and jitters. Like I said, when I had my nightmare trip on caffeine and had way too many Celsiuses, I literally felt like I was gonna die. Like I was sitting in a chair, I was so wired. So much anxiety, so much going on. So this can happen if you get too much alertness from the caffeine. Insomnia. So consuming caffeine too late in the day can disrupt sleep patterns for someone without insomnia. And then consuming caffeine at all is probably a bad idea with someone with chronic insomnia. And then the kicker, which I already referenced in this video, caffeine dependency. So the brain, like every other stimulant, adapts to caffeine. So if you regularly use caffeine and you stop, you get withdrawal symptoms like headaches, fatigue, and irritability. Which I have definitely experienced a number of times. I remember one time I was at a friend's house and she didn't have coffee, and I'd woken up there and she didn't have coffee, but for some reason I couldn't leave for a few hours, so I was desperate enough to DoorDash a Dunkin' coffee. And I don't even like Dunkin'. It was just the only coffee shop that was close and I could DoorDash from. And the fee was really expensive, and I ended up paying like $20 for this coffee that didn't even taste good, just because I wanted my nighttime coffee withdrawal symptoms to go down. So, it's no joke. When we look at mood specifically, in certain studies, caffeine has been found to cause an immediate increase in positive emotions for 2.5 hours post-consumption of a morning cup of coffee. However, this could be related to the reduced withdrawal symptoms after a night's sleep. I think it's probably a combination of things. I think that it's probably both the reduced withdrawal, but then, like we already spoke of, caffeine lets dopamine do its thing, and that makes you happy. So, both of them intertwined. So that's caffeine's effect on your brain. Makes you happy. If you have too much, it makes you too alert and too anxious. And it maybe does some cool things. It protects your brain, makes you have better memory, and can fend off diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in moderation. So those are all very, very good things. So I feel like coffee's doing good so far. Caffeine, excuse me. I'm using those words interchangeably, and I should not be. That was the effects on your brain. Let's talk about effects on your body. Heart and circulation. This is the scary one. It temporarily raises blood pressure and increases heart rate and blood flow. Obviously, the more you have, the more it's going to increase your heart rate. We don't want that heart rate going up too high. This is why drinks like energy drinks specifically can get kind of scary, because 400 milligrams per day is kind of the recommended amount, and most commercial energy drinks have at least around 200 milligrams of caffeine. So if you're drinking a lot of those in a day, that is a lot. That's why, like, these people are like, don't let your kids drink energy drinks because they're gonna have a heart attack. If you drink like one, you're good. If you become too dependent on it and just drink like a lot, I personally wouldn't do that, but to each their own. Digestive system. Caffeine increases stomach acid because caffeinated drinks are typically acidic, like coffee is very acidic. Same thing with an energy drink or soda. And stomach acid can cause heartburn or worsen acid reflux. It also functions as a diuretic, which we know causing increased urination. Metabolism. Caffeine is rapidly absorbed and processed in the liver with a typical half-life of 4 to 5 hours, though this can vary. So again, when we talked about insomnia and consuming it too early before bed, you want to stop drinking coffee around 5 to 6 hours, or drinking caffeine around 5 to 6 hours before sleep, because 4 to 5 hours is a typical half-life. So you want to let that do its thing. How much caffeine is really too much caffeine? So as I've been saying throughout the whole video, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day for most adults is recommended. And this is around 2 to 3 cups of coffee or 2 energy drinks. I don't know. This doesn't seem like a lot to me. This is my 3rd cup of coffee. So 2 to 3 cups. I'm in a good stage. But yeah, this really does not seem like a lot. Because only 2 energy drinks, I know a lot of people who drink over 2 Alanis a day. And that's a lot of caffeine. But then again, it's all about moderation, right? So it's what the doctor recommends. So let's discuss. Let's talk about what we feel about caffeine and its place in society today. I know myself, I cannot function without caffeine. And I think because caffeine as a stimulant has so many ways to be consumed that are safe, like coffee and energy drinks and stuff like that. Like caffeine is not a stimulant that you have to smoke to consume. It's a lot more widely accepted. Like you compare it to a stimulant like nicotine that is also widely used but is not as accepted because so far every use of nicotine that we have found, besides like nicotine patches or something like that, something that's specifically used to get you off of it, causes some kind of negative effect, with Zins being kind of like the lowest, but it still can affect your gums and everything. So caffeine is just widely accepted in that way, and I think if nicotine were the same way, it would be accepted the same way. You also have to think of addictiveness also, because caffeine, although it can cause withdrawal symptoms, it is not technically classified as being addictive, whereas nicotine is a heavily addictive substance. So, I don't know. I think it's very interesting how society treats different drugs. But the more you know, I think all this kind of stuff is just fascinating, and I think it's good to know what something you're consuming every day does to your body. So, next time you drink a coffee or an energy drink, know that it's causing you to have a lot more dopamine and make you really happy, and you should just keep doing it over and over again. And that, I think, is the moral of the story. Anyway, I'm going to be making a video that is pretty lengthy on nicotine and how it's been marketed and the effects of that, and I'm very, very excited about that. So stay tuned and look forward to that. I am such a nerd. I love to research any kind of topic, so Let me know anything you think would be interesting and you want me to talk about. But I hope you guys have a good day. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you very much. Go treat yourself with a cup of coffee. Bye-bye.